Evening and welcome to Foxboro's Conservation Commission meeting of June 17th, 2024 at the Gala Meeting Room, Town Hall, 40 South Street. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded by Foxboro Cable Access. It's 7 o'clock. I'll open the meeting. Do we have any public comments? I want to make the first one, and that is another big thank you for our sign makers from the high school. I know they were in the reporter and also the selectmen, but I also want to give them a big thank you. Do we have anyone else for a public comment? Just come up and use the mic, please. Yes. Just sit at the...
Yes, thank you. We're together.
Okay, all right.
Well, great, thank you. My name's Carol Kleiner. This is Sue Novick. We live in Sharon. For the last couple of years, my husband and I have been enjoying the reservoir and Lane Homestead, and I introduced it to Sue recently, and we both agree it's the perfect setting to offer what we do. We lead guided, mindful forest bathing walks. You may have heard the expression forest bathing, maybe not, or forest therapy. So what we would like to do is to offer our services to the community through you to lead walks at the Lane Homestead property. So forest bathing is informed by a not so old practice in Japan called Shinrin-yoku, which literally means taking in the atmosphere of the forest. There's no water involved, there's no bathing, but imagine bathtubs in the forest where a place to hang out. So the goal of the walks is to help people be present in the moment and immerse themselves in the sounds and sights and smells of nature and be open to the healing power of nature. In Japan, they started doing research if time spent in the forest would help decrease anxiety in their very stressed, technologically driven society. And some research does suggest that spending time in nature, in forests, can lower cortisol levels and blood pressure and pulse rates. So we also call our forest bathing mindful forest bathing. I'm going to send it over to Sue to say why we call it mindful practice.
So I've been leading these walks in and around Sharon and a few other places, and what we invite people to do is to really slow down and be in the moment. So often when we're hiking, which is a wonderful activity, we're hiking and talking and chatting, which is wonderful, but this is not that. So it's not learning about the names of the trees, it's not getting from point A to B, it's going very slowly, and actually a lot of it is silently, so that you really can be present in the moment and notice the little things, the bees buzzing around, the leaves waving in the breeze, something sprouting up. So when you're quiet and you're slow and you're doing it mindfully, you notice a lot more. And then during the practice, there's opportunities for people to share. So it's not only a solo activity where you're going inward, but you're sharing. So it's really quite a nice bonding activity for community members to get to know each other as well.
So our vision at this point is to partner with you, have your support, help us post things on your social media platforms. Perhaps, old school, make up a poster for your learning center and the bulletin board, and whatever other ways we can get the word out and get people on our walks. So we thank you so much, and just please lead us to whomever we should talk to next.
Okay, well, thank you for that. It sounds exciting. I'll go to the IT person that we have. How do we get something like that on the website?
I think it would have to go through the town manager's office. I mean, if you guys we do the requests to use the Lane property are mostly on the weekend. So if this is something that you do during the week, every other Tuesday at 1 o'clock or something, I think it would be fine. But the selectman's office, they're in charge of the Facebook and all of that stuff. So you'd have to go through them to get things posted. If you want to put a poster up at like the signboard at the lane, that's something we could do.
Sure.
One more question I have is this a nonprofit enterprise?
Yep, yep.
Okay.
Community service.
Okay. Okay, great. I think that's something that we can talk to management about.
Yeah.
So here's something that has our contact information.
Yes, that was
Just wondering
the
if you had a
next
flyer or
question.
something, yes.
Wait, I'll get to you.
Thank you.
Any questions for us
I
about
assume you're not
that?
charging for
Yeah,
this.
that's why,
Service.
that's
Okay.
why I asked nonprofit.
Yeah.
Spread the word, help people get healthy,
Yeah.
and have fun.
True.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
So, okay,
Thank you.
now I think we had a question from the
It was
audience.
going to be, are there fees charged?
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, some places that are non-charging, accept donations. If people wanted to donate and we pass it on to you, that would be fine by us, but no payment to us directly,
okay.
to be discussed.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, Carol and Sue.
You're most
Appreciate it.
welcome.
Do we have any other public comments?
Oh, well, no, you're kind of under general business, so.
All right. It being 7:05 PM, we have a NOI for, 8 Goodwin Drive.
Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetland Protection Act, and Foxborough's Wetlands Protection Bylaw, Chapter 267, the Conservation Commission will open a public hearing on Monday, June 17th at 7:05 PM in the Galen Meeting Room, Foxborough Town Hall, 40 South Street, or via Zoom, on a notice of intent filed by SAWK LLC for the construction of a single-family home with associated grading at 8 Goodwin Drive, Assessors Map 51, Parcel 1-12. Portions of the proposed work lie within 100 feet of the resource area. The application is available for public inspection in the Conservation Office at Town Hall. This notice can also be found on the Massachusetts Newspaper Publishers Association website.
Thank you. Mr. Gray, do we have a file number yet?
We do not. I checked this morning, and I still haven't received any feedback from the DEP yet.
Okay, all right.
So, good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. For the record, my name is Cameron Gray. I'm here tonight to discuss the project at 8 Goodwin Drive. If I could share my screen, I'll put up a copy of the
Okay,
plan
now
for
we have
everyone.
somebody on Zoom.
That's Carol for later.
Okay,
She'll still be there, but he can share his screen and.
okay, all right.
I also have copies of the plan if anyone from the commission or from the crowd needs one. So the property is a parcel of land located in the Lawson's Farm residential subdivision and is listed as Lot 18. The property is located on the eastern side of Goodwin Drive, so it's about 300 feet from that first intersection with Conway Lane when you pull in. The wetlands that border the Lakeview Pond are located just off the property to the east here. I can kind of trace it with my mouse. And then I have the associated buffer zones highlighted in red. So I have the 25-foot no disturb, and then I have the 100-foot buffer out here. The property is currently partially developed with a drainage basin occupying a portion of the property. So if you look to the north of the proposed home, you can see an existing infiltration basin. So the wetland resource areas, as well as the subdivision roadway and infrastructure, were previously reviewed and approved by the commission. The proposed project will involve the construction of a single-family home, the driveway, septic system, and grading. This work is separate from the work that has already taken place within the buffer zone due to that infiltration basin to the north. So the proposed home, driveway, and septic system will lie out of the 100-foot buffer zone. So again, I can just trace the 100-foot buffer zone here in red. And you see my home, driveway, and septic system sit out of that area. The work within the buffer zone includes the clearing and grading at the back of the lot behind the proposed home. So we anticipate about 5,500 square feet of buffer zone will be altered due to this work. The proposed home will sit about 113 feet from the wetlands at its closest point, and the clearing and grading will take place about 33 feet from the wetlands at its closest point. So it's kind of down in this corner, would be the closest point. The home will be serviced by a conventional septic system located in the front yard of the property. The septic system will sit about 153 feet from the wetlands, which meets the local regulation. Erosion control for this project will consist of a silt sock and an orange construction fence installed at the back of the property, which I have again here highlighted in red. So this erosion control will be installed prior to grubbing, it will be installed after clearing, but prior to grubbing, and will be maintained till the site has been stabilized. And I think that touches on everything.
Any comments from the board? David?
You know, the problems we've had up in this area and the highlighting that location of the erosion controls, flag it like anything.
Okay.
Because if you're afraid of putting fence up because it might get knocked down. But who's going to monitor the tree cutting because of a disaster in a couple other lots?
So, I mean, we can do what we've done on previous projects, so we'll flag the limited clearing heavily for the tree clears and ensure that whether or not no work is taking place beyond that limited clearing line, the limited work line. And again, so they'll go in there and clear the trees, and then prior to them doing any stump removal or grubbing, we'll make sure the erosion control is installed prior.
Does it mean somebody will be there from your firm when they're cutting?
Yeah, we could confirm that.
I don't know how else you'd confirm it, make sure they don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just had so much trouble up at that roadway there.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to reestablish a mature tree
Yeah.
after it's down. John, any comments?
No, just a reminder, we can't close or issue any sort of determination on this project until we receive a DEP number, so
Yep.
we'll have to, you're gonna have to request a continuance to the next meeting.
Understood.
Anything else from the board?
Are you bringing in good fill?
Was it?
Are you going to be bringing in good fill?
I mean, that's something we can monitor, but
Because of the 18, that fill was filled with asphalt and other stuff besides stones, and the water just washes right off it once it got compacted.
okay,
Once you have your machinery back here with the clearers, it's going to be using skidders most likely
yeah.
to get out to the front, right? The septic system's not in yet.
No, there's been no work on this lot other than the drainage basin.
Okay.
All right.
It'll be a condition that, in the special conditions, David.
This isn't the one that we saw.
No,
This is the one after it.
this is the one that's further down the street, yes.
That's what
Okay.
The it's right next to the basin.
Yeah.
Anything else? Motion to continue until our next meeting.
July 15th.
Make the motion to continue 8 Goodwin Drive till July 18th, you said?
15th.
15th.
Second the motion?
Discussion? Before we do that, any comments from the audience? I see we have a few people out today. Okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None? It being 7:10, we have 20 Faxon Street.
Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, Wetlands Protection Act, and Foxborough's Wetland Protection Bylaw, Chapter 267, the Conservation Commission will open a public hearing on Monday, June 17, 2024, at 7:10 PM in the Gala Meeting Room, Foxborough Town Hall, 40 South Street, or via Zoom, on a notice of intent filed by Alan Pillsbury for an addition to a single-family home at 20 Faxon Street, Assessor's Map 163, Parcel 10. Portions of the proposed work lie within 100 feet of a resource area. The application is available for public inspection in the Conservation Office at Town Hall. This notice can also be found on the Massachusetts Newspaper Publishers Association website.
Good evening.
Evening, everybody. Russ Waldron here for 20 Faxon Street. So this is a addition to existing single-family home, 425 square foot addition off the right side of the house. Closest distance to BVW is 57 feet. There will be some temporary disturbance. They're going to use this side of the property as an access for construction. They're going to try and minimize that to the greatest extent possible, even by, if they have to, they're going to lay down some plywood or anything just to minimize, damage to the yard and
Yeah,
and
it's
all
a
that.
beautiful yard there.
Yeah, it's nice, and that's really it. We've got the erosion controls coming down. If they're gonna stockpile material, they're showing a stockpile area right here. And septic system's on this side of the house, so that was not in consideration, plus it's a much longer route to get over to that side. And that's pretty much it.
Now, do you have a number yet from?
Yes.
Yeah, they got one this morning.
Okay, what is it for the record?
639.
639, okay. I was out there, I don't see any problem with it personally. Anybody else get out there to look at it? John?
Russ, one question I had was, how much disturbance in the buffer zone would you say this project's going to require?
Well, the structure is 425. Like I said, they're gonna try and minimize, the excavation disturbance and the access right here. I didn't get a number from the surveyors. I can if you want, but
I just would like a ballpark number if we can.
425 plus say about 1,000 square feet. maybe.
1,000 square feet, that's what we'll put in there then.
Okay.
Is that lawn there right now?
It's lawn
This is-
and
yeah.
planter beds, gardens, yeah.
Okay, and you've got the electric underneath there, so you've got to
Yep.
protect that. Right?
Yeah, that's why they're gonna try and float everything over it,
Yeah.
as best as possible.
Any other questions, comments from the board? If not, any comments from the audience? Questions? Somebody want to make a motion to close the hearing?
Make a motion to close the hearing for 20 Faxon Street, DEP 157639.
Do I hear a
Second.
Second, all discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right.
Do you want to sign this now and then
Put a
he
draft.
can put in the conditions and then we could get it issued before the next meeting?
Okay,
So you can make a motion to,
sign the. David, why you doing
endorse
that?
it
You
with
wanna
the
make a
standard
motion?
conditions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
these are going to be endorsed with the standard conditions.
Make a motion that we sign the order of conditions for 20 Faxon Street, Foxborough, Mass. DEP 157639.
Second.
Discussion, all in favor? Opposed? None? You all set?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Russ.
Jacob, I think you wanted to get up. Come on up. I'll take you out of order, but that's all right. Just for the records, state your name. Yeah, we're on, the green light is on.
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
My name is Jacob Hindin. Is the presentation up? Is that able to be run? I sent in a presentation.
Oh, no, we don't have a way. I did send it to everybody. Did you guys look at it?
Yep.
So you can just talk about it.
Yeah, okay. I'm just going to pull it up so I can talk from it then. My apologies about that. Right. So I'm here today to try and propose some sort of student initiative that members of Foxborough High School and people who care about the environment and conservation can take part in. So I've broken this up into 3 parts: the who am I, what I want to do, and why I want to do it. So to start, who am I? My name is Jacob Hindin. I'm a Foxborough resident. I go to school. I'm a rising senior at Foxborough High, member of the music program, and an older brother. That's just the rundown of who I am. But now what do I want to do? What am I here to present to you guys? So I would love to get involved with all manner of things that you guys oversee isn't the right word, but it's the best thing I can think of at the moment. Things like getting involved with a Facebook page, attending meetings, doing photography, running student initiatives, local environmental projects, graphic design, and really anything else. In the presentation, I have some pictures of the things, so you guys, I'm sure, will have time to review those if you need to, but those are just a few examples of what I hope to do. A quick example would be, in the website, there's a wildlife section, so something like getting other students or something and taking pictures, like making a gallery, something like that. And finally, why? Why is this something I want to do? Well, the short answer is I took an AP US history class, and one important part that all history classes at the high school had to do is we had to do a civics project, and that just consisted of finding a department in the town, doing research about them, and presenting it to our class. So my department was, I think it was the library, it was something like that. It wasn't this, but another group did do this group, and they presented to the class, and something about that presentation really resonated with me. It was something I wanted to get involved in because albeit an amateur photographer, I'm very interested in biology, environmental science. Knock on wood, I want to call myself a tentative bio major, those kind of things. So I was hoping, obviously big decisions probably won't be made now, but just to propose this idea of, in the future, getting involved, doing stuff, whether it be photography, graphic design, anything like that. That's about it. And just to add on, this wouldn't be paid or anything. This would be 100% community service because it's something I'm passionate about. I'm not really looking for anything in return. That's about it.
Well, thank you for your interest. Again, I refer to the IT specialist over there.
Well, John had some ideas.
Okay.
I'm going to say I'm impressed. It's been a while since a young man of this stature has come in before me and has kind of shown an interest in us and
Yes.
kind of what we do. So it's refreshing to see this, and someone of your, it's just, we don't get this very often. And the willingness for you to want to give back to the community, you don't get that much. So I was a little taken off guard by this, but there are opportunities which we could use people like yourselves and others who may be interested in pursuing. We have numerous properties here in town that potentially could use your eyes and your review of on what you think potentially we could do with those properties in the future, how they could benefit the community. I'd like to take a different perspective as to kind of what people might be looking for. A lot of people that use the property, the uses might be outdated. There might be some features that could use updating for the youthful community and others. So I guess to get started, I would say, we should probably take a look at the properties where we have a lot of use right now and take a look and take inventory as to kind of what their needs are. So as I look at that, I think that's probably an opportunity to look at, and that's something I think you could bring to the table for us, because we could use potential signage improvements, graphic design in some areas, improvements maybe to some trail connections or things of that nature. So just things in general, I think that we could potentially do for the community, and I'm very appreciative of you coming in front of us today, so appreciate it.
Now, while the iron is hot, shall we strike? Shall we set a date and get together?
Yeah, I think we should probably reconnect, maybe go out to some of these properties. And is it just you, or is it others that are also interested?
It's just me.
Okay.
This is a project that
It's not just me, it's, it's more than just.
It's not just you, because
yeah, that's kind of what I was about to go into.
you're the pilot program.
Yeah, it was an idea that I began, but I was about to say I know a lot of like-minded people who I could get involved with. That's one of the things I was saying. Student initiatives. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of ways to connect to people. If you need manpower, students, anything like that, there's a lot of ways to get people involved that I'm sure if you needed to get people, students, and
There's no
anything.
group already at the high school that's like a conservation group or environmental group?
There's environmental science groups at the high school, but there's not a lot of direct action.
So it sounds like,
They need.
it sounds like we need to have a little bit more of a pilot / collaboration. And I think, you're going to potentially be the catalyst that strikes the iron hot, as Bob has said. So I'm looking forward to this opportunity. I guess what I'm going to ask some of the members here is, how's everyone's Fridays look moving forward, potentially, to get out and see some of the properties?
Let the board speak.
Yeah.
I'll be there, because I know a lot of stuff out there anyway, so. Did he get a book yet? Of all
I
the lands?
had to order new ones,
Okay.
so I'll have them in the next week or so.
We've had some work done in the past, where the parcels have been located, just like all the parcels in the town. They're on, the website. You can look up on the census map, everything. But our GPS person also went out and got points on the trails. And so you see these dotted lines going through the various parcels. You get an idea how big the parcel is. And that's about the furthest we've gone in trying to identify what's out there. So you could provide easily some more information that could be inputted and experiencing what do you see out there? What am I looking at? What type of basic ecology am I looking at? Fields, meadows versus the woods versus density. So this is a good opportunity, and we don't have to, start all over with mapping and stuff like that. It's already available. All you need to do is just slowly work your way with us and visit some of these sites. And with his mind, and possibly my old mind, we can, bring it up the scale.
And maybe some younger minds too.
So, as I say, strike while the iron is hot.
Yeah, I mean, I'm available this Friday. I'm available next Friday. So if we want to set something up,
Probably next Friday.
Next Friday?
This Friday, yeah.
Okay.
I'm away the following Friday, but
Are you available this Friday?
I am available this Friday.
Are
I'm
you
here.
available Friday?
Yeah, I'm a student. It's my summer break, so
Okay.
I don't have a ton going on.
Okay.
I'd be down for it.
So I leave it to the board and the commission because I don't really know all the properties very well, but I do know that land management is a concern for most towns. So
Unfortunately, I visited every single property.
David, are you available this Friday? Okay. So do we want to arrange potentially this Friday?
If it's okay with you, yeah.
That's great.
And
All right.
what time do you, 12:30?
I think 12:30 would probably be best. I don't know which property you want to go to first.
Don't you have something at 12?
Do I? Oh, I have something yes, I have something at 12. Sorry, 12:30 would be best.
Okay. 12:30?
Yeah, I have a car I can drive, so
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
You meet here?
Yeah, we're going to meet here.
Meet here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Looking forward to it.
Thank you for coming in, Jacob.
Thanks, guys.
Diana, how long for those books?
I just ordered them today, so
We just need one.
I have
Have one.
I have
That's
one.
fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I mean, you could take that one if you want. I
Yeah, we'll
just
take-
can't give it away to someone that's not going to bring it back.
That one.
Okay.
Treasure it.
Okay.
All those maps are online too.
That whole book is online,
Yeah, the whole book
actually.
is online,
I mean,
so
I
you can-
could print it, it would just be black and white.
It also gives a history of some of the parcels and also what might be out there. So that could give him a base.
It seems like I have some homework to do.
But it's online, so it's easy.
All right. Okay. 357 South Street, informal discussion with Mr. Buckley.
I had to visit all the sites for the open space rec.
That's another thing I wanted to talk to you about, too.
The, while he's setting up, I didn't know if you wanted to, Catherine, our new Land Use and Economic Development Director, is here. She's just observing tonight. She didn't want much fanfare, but we can at least say hello.
Who is this?
Paige Duncan's replacement.
Oh, yeah, oh, that's. Look familiar.
She's got her hair up and
Yeah. She started last week, so she's on week 2, so she's going,
Yeah, she was at the.
meeting everybody, yeah.
Carol, we'll get to you shortly.
Just one more thing. Ready?
Yep.
So, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. For the record, my name is Bill Buckley from Bay Colony Group. I'm here this evening with Frank Spillane. He's our project attorney, and Cindy McKay, who's the owner of the property we're going to be talking about this evening. And I'm going to just share my screen here.
Did you get it?
So I'm going to zoom in.
I don't know which one you got. Okay. I don't think that one's on here. Maybe it is. No. Okay. All right, but that's.
So this piece of property is the McKay Farm on South Street. And for those who are a little unfamiliar with it, if you were heading from the center of Foxborough, go past the Taylor School, keep going, go past Paula Lane, which would be on your left, and then on the right would be the McKay Farm. And so this is a almost 12-acre parcel of land, and it is currently contains the farmhouse, and it has some outbuildings for those of us who used to buy our Christmas trees there every year. Mr. and Mrs. McKay have passed away. Cindy is the executor of the estate, or is the estate now. And so she's approached us and asked us to, we spent the last year talking about this, coming up with a design that would allow her to sell the farm, but really sell the farmhouse, and then a limited one more lot. So we're talking about a 12-acre parcel of land here. And so if you look at the screen up here, this is actually your map. This is the town's open space map. So what I've zoomed in on, this is South Street, coming right here. This is Paula Lane, what I was just talking about. And actually, if you look at the town's open space map, it shows the back of this property as currently as open space, which it is not. I think Jane was in a hopeful mood when she did that. So this is the land. If you look, this piece in white is part of it, and this piece in green is part of it, and this piece in red is part of it. And I'll explain in a minute why it's kind of broken up like that. But I wanted to show you this so you can see that this is surrounded by conservation land, which is the heavy green. Cocassa River Park is back there. It's the land off of White's Farm Lane, which is an open space development, and abuts the Cocassa River. And then over here on the blue, this is water department land, because this is the land off of Sprague Road. So the Sprague Road wells, so the town owns all of that land in the blue. And then, of course, if you continue to zoom out, you can see how this is the state forest. There's more conservation land throughout here. So this fits very nicely. And what we're trying to do is we're using the town's open space residential development bylaw, which allows you to build the same number of lots if you were doing a conventional subdivision. So what we do is, and I know you know this, but I'm just doing it for everybody else who might be listening, is, we show the planning board, look, we can do 3 lots here, 4 lots, whatever the number is, but we'd like to do it as a cluster. So we show them we can do conventional 200 feet of frontage on a road, 60,000 square feet in this particular case of area, and then we come back and say, but we don't want to do that. Please allow us to file under the open space residential development bylaw, which allows us to cut down the frontage to as little as 50 feet, which is impractical, but you can do it. And we can go down to, in this particular case, 30,000 square foot, because we're in a water resource protection district. So what we're proposing is, and I'm going to zoom in even more here, and I don't know why it's doing that.
Bill, is the green next to the red conservation land, or is that the one that's mistaken?
The green next to the red
Yeah.
is
Is that really it?
part of the McKay farm.
Okay, so it's
the
not
mistake.
conservation land right now?
Yes. So behind us, this land behind us all went with the White's Farm Lane project in the back here. And this is the Cocassa River that zips through here. This is West Street, which you're going to be talking about in a minute. This is the West Street Jam and the pond. So what we're proposing, and I'm going to show you in more detail, but I want to show you the big picture first. So some of this front land we're going to take to on the far right, again, I'm going to show you in a minute, will be the farmhouse. And we're laying it out so that hopefully somebody who buys this can continue to use it. They don't have to, but we've laid it out so they can. And then next to that is going to be a buildable lot to the left, and it will have frontage off of South Street. So we're not building any road here. We're building no road. And then to the left of that, it's hard to see because of the large scale, there's another parcel 50 feet wide, but then it goes back and opens up into this, what we're showing here is green. And that will be a parcel of land that will be retained by Cindy because she lives right here. This is her home, and that will remain in her ownership. It's not going to be a buildable lot. We're calling it parcel B, which if you look at your plan, you can see in a moment. The red piece here is about 6.5 acres, and that is going to be the piece of land that we are going to be conveying to the Conservation Commission to be retained in perpetuity as open space. And I wanted to show it to you this way because you can see that it's connected. It's not some isolated orphan piece of property that you probably would not want. I would never show it to you if it was like that. But it adds to it. Similar to actually to East Street, it adds to that open space. You're in small pieces, you're adding to what is here. I'm not sure how many acres, but a significant amount. So I'm going to go now to the, I want to show you this. And this is a, this is a plan that shows a cluster. So I was talking to you earlier about how we could, we have to show a conventional subdivision. So there's wetlands on the property. You can see them here in green. The side is green. In the back is the Cocassa River. There's a little isolated wetland over here just off the property on conservation land. Property has been flagged by Payer Corporation, and the flags are on the drawing. So if we had to, what we can do is we could come in, bring a roadway in, and put in what I'm showing here is 3 lots. And there's a lot of things going on with this property. The first is it's in a zone 2, so it's part of our wells. Surface water is being drawn down through here. It's in a Zone A, which is this blue line you can see going through here. Zone A is a surface water, it's a tributary to a surface water supply. Cocassa River is a tributary to Attleboro surface water supply. So that is part of it, which has its own restrictions. There's the river, of course, it has riverfront and it has wetlands, so there's BVW and buffer zones that go with it. But even with all those things, which is why I showed them on the plan, we can still get at least one lot in the back there, and we would have to go into the town's 25-foot no disturb, but in my opinion, this would be a limited project because we have no other way to access it. You know, the McKays have never owned any other piece of dry land, or at least in recent memory anyways, to access it. So we're showing here 3 lots. So there'll be 1 lot here with the farmhouse, 1 lot here, and then 1 lot in the back. But as I stated, we don't want to do that. We're not interested in doing it. So the next thing, what I'm showing you, would be the next page on your set. This is what we want to do. So we're going to have 4 lots altogether. This lot here, which is lot 1, this would be lot 2, and both of those would be buildable lots. So this would be the farmhouse, as I was discussing. This would be a new lot with a new home, would have access directly off South Street. You notice there's no road. This is the 50-foot piece of land that would be next to Cindy's existing house, and it opens up in the back. It's labeled as Lot 3 on here, but if you look on your plans, it's parcel B, which is the way it's going into the planning board. That's going to be retained by Cindy, and then parcel A over here is the larger piece that would be conveyed to the town. So we are not coming before the commission for any reason. We're not here to ask for anything. We will not be filing any applications if we go forward with this concept. But because you are the commission, what the planning board does is the planning board always asks for your opinion on any project, and sometimes you just say, hey, you got to file with the Wetlands Protection Act. In this particular case, we won't even be filing under the Wetlands Protection Act if we do this. But what I would ask, if you feel it's appropriate, is that you would give the planning board a positive recommendation that, A, you would accept the land, you think it's an appropriate piece of property with the land, and that, you know, whatever other opinion you might have, hopefully you think it's a good design and a good use of the town's bylaws in order to take a 12-acre parcel of land and basically put 1 new house on it.
Well,
and then, if you don't mind, Mr. Boette, Cindy McKay's here. And Cindy is very passionate about how this project is developed, and so she'd like to just speak to the commission for a few minutes.
Sure.
Hopefully. Yeah, as was stated.
Could you get a little bit closer to the mic,
sorry.
please?
New for me. As was stated earlier, my parents did purchase this from, as part of the Weber land, and they bought it definitely so there wouldn't be any development back there. And that was their wish, and my sister and I agreed with that, so. So in a nutshell, you know, it's a great piece of property, it links up with everything else, it's a highway for the animals to go through, so, sorry that the voice isn't good today. So, do you have any questions, or?
No, I would just one comment that it looks like it'd be a lovely fit for the conservation. One of our prime interests is it adjacent to other conservation land? Is it accessible? And this shows that it is. Now, my only semi-fear is, I know you want to protect the back portion behind your house. I'm not sure how the trails are in there, but if people are hiking in there, will they be trespassing onto your property? Is there some, I know there's some rock walls in there and all for boundaries, but
Yeah.
that
No,
would be
most of
my,
the folks who go through there follow along the river, and it's
Okay.
access, what is that, 20, is it 54 or 25 feet of access from the river out that people can walk along? Or it's on the other side, maybe, at White's Farm?
Yeah, White's Farm has a
Yeah.
25-foot. We're not, there won't be any, in this particular case, we're not showing any access along the river.
Okay.
So,
No, that's my own, I'd love to have it. I think it would be an asset to the commission, quite frankly. Let other members speak as well.
it's accessible through the South Street gated area and also further down.
Hazardous Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the access is through that, I don't know if anybody knows, but if, on South Street, if you're going down South Street, I can't even tell you where it is, but maybe 200-300 meters, 500 or 600 feet before this, on the right, there's a gate. It looks decrepit. And there's
Yes,
a
yeah.
kind of a decrepit sign there, which you could have this kid fix.
Yeah.
But what it is, it's,
And that leads into the Sprague well sites.
yep, Cocas River Park. I mean,
Yeah.
we used to run back there. There's like a dirt track back
It
there.
used to be yeah. I know the area, I've been through it a number of times. But again, to me, it's a lovely site for this. And again, my only fear is, would people be trespassing onto your property back there? Or could we maybe get some bounds, even though I'm not, as I say, I don't know if there are trails in there that people would be walking on.
Are you concerned with trespasses in the?
Back there, no.
Okay, if that's not an issue.
We'll definitely put in some monuments along that, this line right here. So this would be the line.
Yeah,
So we'll put some monuments in here. As you stated, Mr. Bodie, this is a wall for the most part. This is a wall for the entire part. The river's there. And then we'll monument along here 2, maybe 3 monuments.
okay,
So people will know, and
all right. Any others?
That's a great piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
So
I
the only-
appreciate that you're not trying to squeeze in
Yeah.
as many
Nice.
houses as you can to make money off it, but rather to preserve it.
So the only thing that I have with this is that since there's going to be no document for provisions as for exclusions and permitted and prohibited uses, it needs to clearly be defined. I mean, there's 2 ways you can do this. There's the conservation restriction route, or there's having proper notice along the common boundary. So if you're going to put in the 2 house lots, it needs to be private property, no trespassing at wherever that, for the new properties that are going in, that boundary. And then, obviously, the owner's property line as well. So, I mean, and then if both properties are going to be intended for public access, then you need to afford for that public access. And then the question becomes, what is permitted and what's prohibited on the property? I guess that's the question. So if anybody asks, we need to make sure that we can advertise or advocate that with proper signage and stuff like that. So I guess that's my question is, what kind of use do we want to see in this location? I mean, is it okay for us to create trails? Is there the intent to potentially have a deed restriction on this portion of the property? There's things that I guess could get ironed out with proper language, but I guess that's something for the landowner to decide with the properties and everything.
And that's along that stone wall too, so there's a mark.
yeah. So what we can do, John, is have Frank talk to you.
Okay,
When we prepare the document,
okay.
right? And then we can have you guys talk and figure it out. I'm sure the
Yeah.
planning board is, whatever you want, they'll be fine with.
Yeah, we just want to make sure that from the transition from the property that it's adjacent to, there's not a difference in what the use is. We want to have that continuous use transfer over, so that way all the permitted uses share the same kind of use that the other adjacent property does, that the town already owns.
I think Cindy's main focus is she never wants to see it built on. And we've always told her that,
Yep.
conservation strongly feels that way. But you never know what's gonna happen in the future and who's gonna be on the conservation or the board of selectmen at any one time. That's the biggest, otherwise, passive use.
Yeah,
is
and
hiking
that's the
all
question
that.
is, passive, could we allow for some active use with trails and whatnot? And that's kind of, some of that language goes into, certain uses for certain properties when they're donated or they're transferred over to the towns. It's just getting that language right from the get-go.
Yep.
Rather than having those complications come up later. So that's really just ironing out those details would be great.
Yep, that's not a problem.
Good.
The only question would be the donation in fee or a conservation restriction? There's a big difference there, because the landowner still has rights under a CR, even though it's protected and, protected by the state law, constitution, and all that, but.
We've been looking at it as a fee
Okay.
with certain types of restrictions.
Okay.
I think that's best for the town and best for the homeowner.
And there's
'Cause
also.
then they're not paying taxes on something that.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, those restrictions and easements, if you try to get a tax deduction on it, they're red flags.
They are
So I
red
never-
flags.
I never
I know
recommend
they are.
those. So, we were really looking at a fee, simple transfer with restrictions, Again, mainly, nothing was ever built on there, that's used passively. We can work that language out. I don't think that's gonna be a problem at all.
And there are tax benefits for the landowner that can be over a couple of years versus the others.
There is, and we looked at this property with.
It can be a
Buckley
challenging process from what I hear.
And Cindy, yes, because one of my goals in trying to work with them is, what we're gonna transfer to the town, let's look at possibly being a buildable lot, because then that value is much higher. So you'll see this parcel B that Bill is on, that technically is a buildable lot. It meets all the zoning requirements as a buildable lot. However, because of the wetlands, today, it's really not a buildable lot for practical purposes. So in working with, Mr. Buckley's been meeting with the planning department, they've asked us to show it as a parcel B instead of a lot, to indicate to people that they know it. Cindy McKay at this point strongly gonna keep it and probably merge it in with her house lot. But I always caution people, you think of that today, but in 20 years, you may think differently of it and need, possibly the money. And she can either gift it to the town at that time, or if rules and regulations change and it can be a buildable lot, she might be able to get that at that time.
So do you think that you're gonna do a deed restriction for that lot?
No.
No? Okay.
No, she's gonna retain it.
Okay.
At this point, she's gonna keep it with her lot.
Okay.
They may not merge it together,
Okay.
but at this point, she's gonna keep that.
Okay.
The other parcel, the backland, will transfer to conservation in the town. Fee simple with, whatever restrictions we work out.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Sounds good to me.
But it's gone through a lot of, different variations so that, Cindy is comfortable, because one of her main focuses was to get a large portion of this to the town. That was one of her.
With no buildings on it. Yeah, absolutely.
Because
Yeah.
of what her parents' wishes.
Yeah.
And her wishes.
Just from the history point of view, was this area formerly part of a farm, a larger farm?
Let's see, I believe it was.
Because the Whites, the property across the Cohasset was the Whites farm.
Right.
And it seems like that, it had a farm on both sides of the river, based on some old history.
I think it could have been before the 1930s, but it was farmed then. And I believe even prior to that, the property, you're looking at the street to the right, looking at the house rather to the right, that was all farmland. And the name escapes me now. But then my grandparents in the 30s bought that property from the gentleman who had been living there and so on. So we do have pictures of it cleared from way back when, cleared right to the river. So it's reverting back to its former state now.
Doesn't take long if it's left.
No. When I was a kid, there used to be an apple orchard in the back, and now it's, gone through maples into pines, and, it's a great place to walk. And many things to see, bobcats, mink, fishers, you name it. Of course, coyotes. Plenty of turtles. One of my neighbors said he just saw like a turkey plate full. It was that big of a snapping turtle cutting
Oh,
through.
wow.
Yeah, so, and I think there's a Blandings also over in the corner, if I'm not mistaken, but Blandings turtle. So, it's a great place and a great corridor for conservation.
So did you save any of the giant pumpkin seeds he had?
Might be able to scrape up a few from friends, but
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Bill, are you for the West Street Dam as well?
No.
Okay, all right, good. Let's, I know, you've got that data. Let me get Carol on first. Carol, are you still there? Oops, where did she go?
They were just there.
Yeah. So Bucky, you have to go away.
My name's here.
Oh, there you are.
Okay. Carol? Can you hear us, Carol?
I can, yes.
We cannot hear you. Can you?
All right, okay, take these out. How's that, better?
A little closer.
Get in better.
No,
No.
nothing.
Nothing. Hold on a minute. Beth, can you give me a hand, please?
I can hear Carol on my side.
Okay.
I wonder if it's just in their room.
Yes, there's a big echo. Can you, I'm getting some help here. There's a big echo in the audio. Now, is there? Maria, can you hear me?
I can hear you, and it looks like Bill Buckley has his audio on.
Oh.
Yeah, somebody needs to mute.
Oh.
Whoever isn't talking needs to mute, and that will get rid of the echo.
No, on his laptop.
Oh.
So then you have to remember to unmute in order to talk.
How's this? Can you hear me now?
Can we pump?
They can
Can we pump her up?
Everyone else, right?
No, can
Thank
you make
you.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's
That's
better.
yeah.
Right. Thank you. Well, I want to, Bob, it's good to meet you at last, and I want to thank all the commissioners for having me in tonight. Hello to John. He and I had the pleasure of serving on the Easton Commission. He's back. And I heard that some of the commissioners were visiting the Lane property today, so that's delightful to hear. What can I do for you tonight?
Okay, I guess I'm looking for, what is your plan moving forward? I was up there over the weekend as well. I think just about everybody got up there. Some areas look overgrown. Is that by design? I know you worked very closely with Jane, and the two of you worked everything out. And I was left in the dark, unfortunately. So I do not know what the overall design plans that you had, and you had worked out with Jane. So I'm basically starting from scratch.
Right. Thank you, Bob. Right. So Jane brought me in 2020. We've been working closely until her leave. I personally have had a difficult year this year taking care of my mom. She's in memory care, and I had to move her to a different memory care home. So it's not a surprise that areas are overgrown this year. I'm a one-person company, and I'm doing the best I can, and I have more availability now. So my plan is to continue to do what I've been doing, which is maintaining the habitat areas around the Lane Learning Center. I do have a map of that area, if you'd like to look at that. Would that be helpful?
Yes.
Okay. Can I share my screen, please? I'll do that. Okay, can you see my screen?
No.
Nope.
They all have it as a handout, I imagine it's.
Oh, okay. Is that what she's trying to show?
Oops. I don't have that. That's all right. I just, the handout that you sent in, can you work just verbally from that? Because.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So well, as we arrive, as we park, we're facing the lawn, at the lower parking area.
Yes.
The lawn is a work in progress. Most of the soil there is recycled asphalt and gravel. So we've been working with Jane over the years to bring in weed, seed-free organic matter, which has come in the form of bulk or bagged coast of Maine compost that we spread. So over, it's an ongoing process that will take continual care. I think that for visitors, the lawn is a very appealing area. So we work on that every year. So if we continue to go along the shore there, Dave's garden is not on this map, but I think you probably know where it is. If you're on the lawn and face towards the pond, it's right in front of you and runs down the hill. Ecologically, the most important part of that garden is it functions as a rain garden. And there's a lot of gravel and asphalt like material that comes down from the split in the road. Go past the barn and then the road splits three ways.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of gravel that runs down the hill. Those of you that were there today probably saw that gravel in the parking area. So Dave's garden helps to filter and capture some of that sediment pollution. We've been, Dawn, one of the volunteers, and I have been bringing in logs to help slow down and redirect water that comes pouring into that garden. Through all habitats, there's enormous invasive plant pressure. So we're always working on things like mugwort, bittersweet, Norway maple. There's that loosestrife, those beautiful purple flowers. A lot of that down in the picnic area. There's a lot of weed pressure there. Pretty innocuous weeds down there. There's a lot of chickweed and seedlings from red maples and the invasive Norway maple. In the Dell area, that's the low area across from the picnic area that has a lot of black walnut trees, and those are kind of toxic to many plants, but not all. There's not a lot we can do about those. There are native plants that can tolerate very well living underneath them. There is a lot of weed pressure in there. There's burdock, there's bittersweet, there's multiflora rose, there's mugwort, many things. Up in the meadow, has been a lot of mugwort. The way we've managed it at times, we did a big effort 2 years ago. Even though we were disturbing soil, we pulled out a lot of it by the roots as best as possible, and that has made a very big dent. You never get it all, and we do not use pesticides on the property. This year, I'm planning to go in and see what will come up easily with a simple tug, or probably what we'll do with most of it is flush cut it to the ground, and that will help to exhaust the energy that's stored in the roots. Upper parking area would be overcome with all kinds of different plants, including the wonderful raspberries and blackberries. I didn't keep that back. Circling back to the picnic area, another thing that's there is the restoration area. that has a lot of weed pressure with invasive glossy buckthorn, a lot of poison ivy that we like to keep back so that visitors have a less chance of interacting with that. The beech tree area, for Jane and I, it's always been one of the complaints that I understand someone, have come in from residents is that there are a lot of dandelions. And so one thing that would help us is to have some guidance from the commission about what the town wants its relationship to be a conservation area with dandelions. They are not natives, but people don't like them because they don't think they belong anywhere, especially in their lawns. They do provide some kind of food for native bees when they bloom early in the spring. So we could use some guidance about that. The area right behind the barn is extremely overgrown with little blue stem and some goldenrod. We haven't made a clear plan for that area, so that's another place where we could use a hand. Yeah, and there are a lot of infrastructure challenges there right now. Those of you who were there today or in this past week would have seen. So that's another thing that I can help scout with. Things like the 2 wooden stairways have rotted out. You saw the orange construction barrel there blocking people from using that. The trail, the gravel asphalt trail down to the picnic area has there's a stormwater erosion gutter that goes right across that path now. And that's very dangerous for people with disabilities to get across. Sorry, that's my dog. So you may have noticed up in the upper parking lot, there's one of those huge logs that you park up against has been moved by somebody. So that path that goes down to the lawn from there is not accessible by a person with a disability, say in a wheelchair, because that log is out of place.
Yeah.
So it's a combination of work. Does that help answer your question?
A lot of work to be done.
Yes.
Yes. I'll start off with comments from the board. Any?
I mean, my main concern is that it's more of a matter of maintenance, as you're saying, that the place is just going to, if we do anything, it's got to be done in piecemeal so we can maintain it.
Yeah.
To do it all over again and then not maintain it isn't going to do us any good. We'll be back in the same spot. Because just everything was originally planned and it's just overgrown.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed the area around the beech tree is all very high. It's, 2.5 feet high, some of it, or thereabouts.
Yeah. That's diseased too. Isn't that that's the one that we saw as diseased?
Is the beech tree
Yes,
thriving?
it is.
Yeah, the dark red.
Yeah.
Yep.
But is it thriving or is it dying?
According to her notes here, she said that it is dying, or eventually will die of
Eventually, but...
beech leaf disease,
Yeah.
but Rich looked it up on his phone, and the phone confirmed that it is sick.
Okay.
And you can see the top of the tree is, the leaves aren't really going all the way to the top.
Yeah, they don't quite come out.
So you're telling me I should bring my chainsaw out there? Is that what I'm hearing?
It's a gorgeous tree. I don't know, do you know if those can be saved by an arborist or?
There is a treatment that's available that will, I understand, slow the process in some cases, but the tree is doomed.
Oh.
Chainsaw it is.
Yeah, I think that's.
So I guess go ahead, Carol.
Thank you. So I'm glad that you made a comment about the height of the herbaceous perennials around the beech tree. Many of the plantings that are there are native plants like New England aster, there are goldenrods.
Yep.
So this is the rub about a property that you want to be a demonstration garden for the public and to support habitat and education about what is native and ecologically valuable and what is tolerable for the public, and how do you meet there? So there are also non-native plants there, like there's a popular kind of daisy that is extremely aggressive. It's white daisy. It grows and grows and grows, spreads every year. So some guidance about what to do even when a plant is native and living and taking a form that is its native form.
When we go back in history on this, and I'm pretty sure Jane told you, the intent was to educate anybody and to see various native plants, to have labels, almost like you're going into a park.
Like a horticultural place, right?
Horticultural park. But, and, you know, like underneath the black walnuts, that was all chipped. You can't barely see the chips out there, but it was completely chipped, walkable among them. The restoration area, that had numerous plantings that were native, which if you could find 25% of them now, I think all the Buckley bushes are gone. But that area, that strip, was specifically landscaped with native plants. But if you don't stop the invasive ones from coming up from the banking that wasn't touched, then it gets overgrown, and you saw that. The Memorial Garden and the Rain Garden, they had all plantings. Some of them are still there, but they're also getting overgrown by other things, and goldenrod and some other stuff, because no one has gone down there to prune them out, to cut them back. No one that knows what the plants are has gone down there to be part of the maintenance from our group. We had to depend on some work that Jane did in the early days. And some of the plantings died that year. And the landscaper was supposed to come back and replant, you know, the replacements, the 2-year option. And part of that wasn't done. But we had a very dry summer right after they planted that. So the meadow, that meadow was rather interesting. It was just basically fill. They didn't have any money to put any type of decent soil on top of it, or compost or loam. And there was, after Founders Day, a bunch of people and kids took a whole bunch of wildflower seeds and spread them over the whole area, and with the hope that they would take over. And there are some left, but not much, because the town came in with a whole bunch of pine chips from some trees that were damaged, and they spread them over that area to try to make it look better. So a lot of places just didn't have the maintenance. And you can see it. And part of it is some of us don't really know what the plants are, especially the invasives. It's almost you have to have a classroom going out there and get hands-on. And isn't the best time to work with the ones you don't want in the spring, when they're smaller, the groups, you can recognize them and pull them out, especially the ones that are trying to advance, and the daylilies?
Is that a question to me?
Yep.
Right. So I would say the best time to manage plants depends on their life cycle and what their habits are. The invasive plants do usually emerge or leaf out earlier than native plants, so that's one way to recognize them in the spring. I would say in the restoration area that after the native plants were put in, which I was not a part of, other plants have come in to fill the ground cover layer. And there are, I don't know how many native plants were put there, but I know there's clethra there. There are still blueberries. There are, I'm not remembering the others, but there are also some native plants. And the thing is, once you plant plants, they compete with each other, they cooperate with each other. And if they do well, you have a very densely planted area, like Dave Garden Dave's Garden is very dense right now. And that's partly because of the success of some of the native plants that have been able to thrive there. Again, it comes back to expectations and what the goals are for different areas, and what what looks messy and overgrown to one person, to birds and bees look like habitat where they want to live.
The restoration area was an idea Jane brought up with the friends, that it would be an example for people to see what they can do next to a wetland area or next to a water body, riverfront, or a stream. And that was the sole intent of that area. But as you said, others started invading because it wasn't kept up. We didn't even have a sign there. There was supposed to be a sign put there saying what's going on. Just to give you a little history on that one.
Sure. I think right now there is a sign that we put in.
That was
It doesn't
handmade
explain
by,
anything, it just says restoration area.
Ronnie did that. He made up that sign.
Oh, okay.
So one of your main complaints is not enough signage for the education value. Is that right?
That was the intent of, especially the Rain Garden, Davis Garden, the restoration area, and some around the living center.
I feel like maybe we can utilize Jacob in this area
Yes.
as far as signage goes. That sounds like the kind
So-
of thing he'd be interested in.
Yeah, so it sounds to me that what's lacking here is a land management plan. And, for me, it's understanding what each different ecosystem that is identified here and what each area is the purpose of each sole area. So, Carol, I took your information from the land habitat areas and overlaid it onto the map that you provided us. And, looks like we have 10 or so areas where different habitats are, where we're monitoring and maintaining. So I think if we try to take this to the next step and develop some sort of plan of action, that will actually allow us to work with Carol for maintaining those areas as they were, intended to be done, and making sure that this is kept moving forward on a continual annual basis. And this is something that I think, I just wanted Carol to come in front of the commission to kind of show, because this is a thing where the commission should be aware of everything that's happening on this property, because this money that's being used is for management purposes. We want to make sure that it's going to good use. Here's what we're doing. Okay, we need more hands on deck for this certain area. We decide that, okay, next season we're going to really attack, section 11 or whatever it is, because it seems like it needs more maintenance. So I guess in anticipation of what the property needs, I think we need to kind of develop a plan for this general area. And I don't know, Carol, have you ever developed a land management plan before? No, okay. No. So I think then, for instance, I think the next step would be for us to work on a land management plan with Carol's help and assistance and involvement, because she's the one that's been doing this since you said 2020, Carol? Yeah, so she has a better understanding of, what's been done to date. So I think it's best for us to kind of, start this process and then figure out, how we best can use Carol in the future for attacking these certain areas. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to have that plan ready. But I just don't know if the commission. Now, Carol, have you gone after the property as of late?
Yes.
You have, okay. Of all the areas, which areas do you think are of dire priority? Top 5.
Oh, great question. Great question. I would say Dave's Garden.
Okay.
Because that has a lot of education potential. Let's go back to that map. I'm a visual person. Adele. So it's it is getting overgrown. I mean, that's the nature of nature is plants abhor a vacuum. They want to, they want to take up space and reproduce. The restoration area. And the beech tree. I think those are my.
About the lawn area, because that's the first thing people see when they park their car there. Would you put that as a high priority?
Yes, I agree that it's from a public visitor perspective, it's important to have that be welcoming and inviting. And we having a management plan for that, it would be very wise, especially given the soil condition, which in many places is very heavy with recycled asphalt. And there's very little organic matter to help a lawn even have a chance of living, never mind thriving. And then we have to balance that with what did we do during a drought. But yes, there's more that we can do. So I would add, John, there are other areas that are not on the documents that I sent you or on this map. One is the pond edge. That wraps all the way around Lapperlot Road along to the street side. My understanding is the state sent in some kind of work crew last year and managed some invasive plants there. Jane, if I remember right, said that she had no idea they were coming. So part of the management plan might be to coordinate with other agencies. There's a lot of euonymus in there, a tremendous amount. There's Dame's Rocket, there's Bittersweet. So I think I think for an environmental services point of view, that's a very important area.
All right, so we have 5 items for this property that are up on our priority list to tackle. I think it would be good to consult Carol moving forward because she has history with doing this stuff, so we should just consult with her and see if she wants to continue. Carol, do you want to continue doing this work for the town?
I do, and I have moved to I used to live in Easton, and now I live in Rockport, Massachusetts. So it has become more difficult.
Okay.
But aside from my family challenges this year, I do love the property, and I would like to continue to contribute it as long as it continues to make sense for the town and for me.
Okay. Well, let me do this, let me consult the commission about having a land management plan initiated and I guess drafted, and we can discuss some other items, and I can incorporate some of your recommendations into the plan, and then we can then talk about next steps. Does that seem reasonable?
Yes, that sounds great. In fact, in addition to that, I am available Friday if some of you all are going over to meet with Jacob.
Okay.
It's useful. I'd be happy to make myself available.
Does that
probably
for you? Yeah. Say
early afternoon.
How long do you think, Jake?
We're going to go to the Lane property, I think, anyway. So
Yeah.
you might as well just.
Yeah.
Do you want to just say 12:45 at the Lane property? Does that work? Because we're going to meet here at 12:30.
Yeah.
We'll go to the Lane property first. Does 12:45 work for you, Carol?
Thank you.
And if you have any, anything comes up, just let us know.
Okay. Will do. Let me just double check my list if I could.
Okay.
Oh, some of you will remember that one of, for some visitors, young visitors especially, one of their favorite features of the property was the swing that hung. It's on the habitat map.
Yeah.
That hung from a Norway maple that is now dead and unsafe. So if the commission could get behind and find a place to put up a new swing for kids, that would be terrific.
All right.
Not on the beech tree.
What beech tree?
We'd also have to check liability.
Oh, well.
It's better to run it past them than not say anything and something happens.
Yeah.
Original people's farm.
Glad to finally meet you, Carol. As I've heard a lot about you, and it's all been good, so looking forward to Friday in person.
Thank you, Carol. Good seeing you
Very much.
again.
Good night.
Yep. Thank you.
There's other people on Zoom for the West Street Dam.
Oh, okay.
Just before we get off on that, I think we need to talk to the Parks and Tree Department director.
Yeah, that's part of the plan that we're going to draw up.
I think something we need to talk to a little bit sooner, because that maple tree that's right there in front of the Learning Center, 1/3 of that could snap right off and come right down on the lawn and anybody standing there.
Okay.
The part over the parking lot, it looks in better shape, but there could be serious rot inside that you never know. It's withstood the winds now, but I think we should have them meet there and have them look at it and give us advice.
So part of the land management plan is to scour the property for hazardous tree falls and things of that nature, and any hazardous trees. That's part of the land management plan. So that's one of the things we're going to do before the plan even gets initiated, is to try to screen the property, make sure, because people's safety is the most important thing.
Because I had him, we met down with him in the Kersey Point.
Okay.
With regards to some of the trees that were, endangered, and a couple that blew over.
Yeah.
And he also took care of all the invasive plants in Notwood.
Yeah.
And mowed down that big forest of it. Oh, yeah, he mowed it down. It was 6 to 7 feet high.
It'll probably just come back.
Oh, it's already back.
It'll come back double.
Triple.
Well, you got.
Oh, he's got stuff that could spray it.
Yeah.
If you, yeah, I don't know.
Conversation for another night.
Okay. So you want to do West Street then? All right.
She's been waiting patiently.
West Street is on.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maria Pruaudi from Environmental Partners. Is my volume okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I will try to share my screen. It's just page C1. Let's see. Can you see that or no?
Nope, not yet.
It's coming
It's
through.
coming, there it is.
Okay. Yeah, so I'm representing the Town of Foxborough Department of Public Works on this project. We've submitted a request to amend the existing order of conditions for the West Street Dam spillway removal, culvert, and water main replacement project, which that portion of the project has already been constructed and is in the monitoring phase. This amendment adds the construction of a waterfront dock and stone masonry wall at 31 West Street. This was a part of a stipulation agreement between the town and 31 West Street. So sort of like a required part of our project. So it includes the construction of a 5-foot wide by 15-foot long waterfront dock. I don't know if you can see my cursor, to West Street Pond, and the construction of a stone wall along the property line and right of way. So there is temporary and permanent impacts associated with this to bank, land under water bodies and waterways, bordering vegetated wetlands, riverfront area, and bordering land subject to flooding. We have it all on the site because of the pond and the resource areas around there. So during construction, of course, we'll have environmental protection measures. We'll have filter sock for sedimentation control and a 4-foot-high orange construction fence along like the path that any construction equipment would have to take to get to the dock. And we are also proposing just to trim the vegetation within the dock footprint to facilitate installation. So yeah, do you guys have any questions or comments on this?
All right, John, you had some technical advice as to exactly how to handle this.
Yeah, we're just going, well, it's, if the commission decides to approve and close this, we'd put in some conditions allowing for this under the amendment, under the conditions. I guess how many pillars are being installed for the dock?
We are proposing 4, which should be more than enough for this length and width. Well, I guess required.
Right, so
for a rectangular
substrate,
dock.
yeah, substrate's gonna be minimized to the extent most practicable. I don't know if, I guess a water siltation, is required, for the install, but I would just have it, I guess if you need it, depending on what the conditions are. I don't think it's gonna be necessary for installing the dock, but I would just have it on hand if you need to use it. I don't think there's going to be much substrate disturbance with the 4 piers being installed. When do you think you're going to do the work, or when are they proposing to do this work?
So we obviously need your approval, and then we also are applying for a Chapter 91 waterways license.
Oh, you are?
So,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So
Is West Street Pond a
the
Chapter 91
determination.
waterway?
Yes,
It is?
we applied for a combined Chapter 91 401 water quality certification for the dam and spillway
Okay.
project.
So
So
this
we're
is
just
going to
kind
be, so this is going to go before them as well then? Okay, so
Correct.
then part of the conditions that we would do is just providing us confirmation from them that you received the permit. So prior to doing any work, you need to provide us that you received confirmation from them. So this
Okay.
really then would not be in our jurisdiction per se, because they're filing for a Chapter 91 permit. This is more kind of an administrative thing then, if that's the case.
Can I ask what the Chapter 91 permit is?
It's a state permit. We don't
Just
have.
to do the work instead
Yeah,
of.
yeah, we don't have any jurisdiction when it comes to that, so,
Usually it's a great pond.
yeah, and that's typically a great pond, and I didn't know, is it West Street Pond?
Yeah.
It's not on the list of great ponds here in.
No, it isn't. But
in
technically,
Foxborough.
under the regulations, you can put a canoe in it, and so therefore it's navigable.
Oh, okay.
Which I know that they're updating the regulations, so maybe that definition is changing. But
Okay, well, I
yeah,
guess-
They put in a dock, so I would hope they could put a boat in of some
It was
sort.
meant to be more just a viewing dock.
Yes,
rather than-
yes, yeah.
right.
So,
Well, no. It wasn't meant to be a viewing dock.
No,
This was part of a process.
yeah,
yeah.
but it wasn't meant to, like, as a boat launch.
Just allow them to be close to the water.
It was just-
Yeah, just to get
Since-
closer to water,
Right.
and if you had a canoe or kayak or anything like that, you put it in.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Tough.
So administratively then,
Yeah,
we close it out or?
I would say that we can close it out. We just have to put a certain set of conditions in there. I mean, we just need to receipt from the state that they've filed for the permit and they were
Okay.
approved. And then administrative, we can just make the modification, request for the modification change. I don't see it as being a major issue for this project.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments? Nope.
Is just to clarify, the footprint is greater than 600 square feet?
Of the dock?
Yes.
No.
Okay.
I think it's 75.
Okay.
5 by 15.
So did you, I'm just kind of trying to get my head around this. So did you do a simplified Chapter 91 permit?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
So,
It's not a public hearing because
What's
this
that?
was to determine whether it's a major or moderate
oh,
change. So if you're calling it a minor change,
minor, yeah.
that makes it administrative.
Is that the
This
vote
was
that
a-
we need is a minor?
A major change would mean that they have to file a new notice of intent. A minor is they can make this as an amendment.
Okay,
This topic was discussed during the regular hearing
Yep.
for this whole project, and that it would be brought back to us at the end of rebuilding West Street and the dam and the utilities.
so,
So it was discussed as in the public hearing, and
Was.
in the order of conditions did mention something about this.
Okay, so I will just make reference under that condition, and we will make it known that they did come back in front of us, and that they were required to provide correspondence and proof that they received a permit from the state prior to any work out there.
That would be great. I do think that we need proof of I don't know if it's your approval, but we do need proof that you have seen this to submit to Chapter 91.
Yeah, we will send over a issued amended order of conditions, provided that the commission
Great.
makes that decision tonight.
is that all that you need from us then?
Yes, that's it. Thank you.
So do we have to make a motion? thing?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask for that.
Motion, that's a minor modification.
Minor modification, and
So I'll make a motion that we approve an amendment for a minor modification of DEP 1570594.
do I hear a second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Jim's
Oh,
on here
Jim.
too.
Did we have to do
You're on.
that like?
Okay. Now,
Thank
do
you
we
all.
have to roll call since he's on?
Yes.
Sure. Yeah. Jim's here now, so roll call.
All right.
Yeah.
Jim Morris, aye.
Rich?
Rich Galemi, aye.
Rebecca Kelly, aye.
Tanya Orlando, aye.
David Opatka, aye.
And Robert Boette, aye.
I don't have anything to sign because I wasn't sure what we were creating, so
Yeah.
It's fine.
we'll have something for you to sign later.
Okay,
You can come visit me.
all right. I'll start with that then. Excuse me, do you have any comments on?
I was here from Westwood.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
Good.
All right, we
They
can get
outside.
Mr. Buckley back.
Yeah.
He's ahead of the stone.
They're watching the game?
Too water from the stone wall and see how
Time to wrap this up. It's past 8:30. yeah.
peeled the permit. Yeah, yeah, and he peeled.
Have you got a score, Mr. Spillane?
Excuse me?
You got a score? You weren't out there watching the Celtics? Oh, come on now.
No, but that's, we can go right there from there.
Eventually got him to.
What time does that start?
It starts at 8:30.
8:30, yeah, it's supposed to start at 8:30.
I didn't realize it was that late.
They always start.
Yeah, yeah.
You want to start with Panas Road and then Goodwin and then East Street? Is that okay? That's,
So we're here so again, for the record, I'm Bill Buckley from Bay Colony Group. And I think we met with the commission a couple of months ago, talking about 3545 Panas Road. The commission has signed off on a bunch of the old orders, conditions, and issued a certificate of compliance. So we had a site walk on Friday with Lauren, who's I think still on, and me, Mr. Bodie, Mr. Thomas, up on the site, and we brought cast of thousands. They had, the owner was there, the owner's rep, which is Berkeley Partners. They have another engineer who was there. And yeah, I think Berkeley had 3 or 4 people there. But anyways, we came up with a course of action on how to move forward with it. And very briefly, and John, Mr. Boette can pop in without it. There's really 2 orders of conditions left out there. One is on 10 Panas Road, which is, back in the mid-'80s, I think. And then the one is on 3545 Panas Road, where one of the buildings was built. To the right of that building, it's been cleared in anticipation of that final construction, but nothing was ever done. So it's piles of material, et cetera. But I think the wetlands, as Lauren pointed out, are in pretty good shape. There's still a little bit work to be done there. And there is one big restoration area that they've never started. That is to the right side of the driveway as you come in off Panas. So we are going to be, right now we're in the process, we're developing a plan for the big piece, 3545, that's all kind of disturbed, to get that back into a stabilized area. We want to pave some of it, and the rest of it, we're going to just level it out and grass it. And then Lauren, in the fall, will be working on the restoration area, because you can't plant that now. And so what we think is we'll be back in July with a request for determination of applicability to be able to do this work, because right now the orders are all expired. So we'll be in the fall with the request for determination to do that work. And at the same time, we'll be asking the commission to close the 2 orders, but we'll be doing the work under the request for determination of applicability with a specific timeline. So we think we can do the heavy work, the heavy construction, moving all that dirt during the summer, because it doesn't really matter. And then in the fall, get the plantings done, and at least get that first season of plantings finished this fall. And then next year, and then hopefully after 2 seasons, we'll have that 70 or 75% growth. And then we can come back to the commission and show them that. And we'll have as part of that request for determination, we'll have Lauren do periodic reviews and give reports to the commission on how we're progressing on that.
Okay, are you going to do 1 or 2 requests? Are you going to do the restoration area in 1 request, and the clearing of the up at where you were going to put the building is a separate one, or are you going to do them all in one?
I think we talked about doing 1, right?
Doing all one. Basically, what we're taking all the outstanding items from the old orders and rolling them over to the RDA.
Okay.
Ultimately, that.
I was just wondering if it'd be easier to do 2, just to keep the 2 projects separate, or?
I mean, we can keep them both together.
Okay.
If we want to, just to consolidate them. I mean, like I was telling the folks out there, is that, the onus is on them to make sure they do this project the right way. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we'll be questioning them later, and we would like to make sure that this goes without a hitch. So I think it's in the best interest of the landowner and prospective tenant to make sure that the work gets done correctly.
Okay.
And it is 1 parcel of land, even though it's,
it's
the different areas, it's still on 1 piece of property, yeah.
Okay.
So that's the update. We just wanted to give the commission an update on where we're at. So we'll be back in July with the request for determination, and we'll be moving forward right after that.
Okay. And then you want to move it to Goodwin Drive, 10?
Well, I think, did that hearing close? And wasn't that closed?
I've got order.
Yeah, we just have an order.
Yeah, so we're just kind of here to listen and answer any questions.
Okay.
The hearing's been closed.
Oh, by the way, thanks for putting in that
Additional barrier work.
barrier, yeah. So do we have the order of conditions? Okay. Someone want to make a motion to sign the order of conditions?
I'll make a motion to sign the order of conditions for 10 Goodwin Drive, DEP 157-638.
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Roll call.
Oh,
Oh, roll call, sorry, Jim?
All right, Jim Morris. Aye.
Rich Galimi, aye.
Rebecca Kelly, aye.
Tanya Orlando, aye.
David Opatka, aye.
Robert Boette, aye. Just as a point of information, on East Street, did you get a copy of the letter that Mr. Feeney sent in? It can no
I
longer
don't think I
be
sent it to them.
entered in because the hearing is closed, but, okay,
I'm sure it doesn't say anything we haven't heard.
okay. Just keeping you updated. that's
Thank you.
Signature. Then they don't shuffle.
But two places, David, is that what you're,
I was just trying to find the signature page. I got
It's
one.
usually page 10.
So there's only one.
Yeah, there's one signature page.
okay. I thought you were trying to
You
separate.
can put it at the, well, I didn't, it wasn't at the top, so.
Oh, okay.
Put it at the top, and then you guys
All
can
right.
sign it.
And we got 204 East Street.
He's got that
Any-
one, too.
We got the order of conditions?
We do.
Okay. Do you have any comments on them, Mr. Buckley, or did you get a copy of?
We did, Mr. Chairman, and me, Frank, and Lauren are here to answer any questions, but we have no comments on it.
Okay, do anybody have any questions? If not, somebody want to make a motion?
make a motion to sign the orders of condition for 204 East Street, DEP 157-636.
Do I hear a second?
Second?
Discussion? All in favor?
Roll call.
Jim Morris.
Roll call.
Aye.
Rich
Jim Morris,
Galimi, aye.
aye.
Oh, Rich Galimi, aye.
Rebecca Kelly, aye.
Tanya Orlando, aye.
David Opatka, aye.
And Robert Boette, aye.
Thank you very much.
They won't be, I'm out tomorrow and Wednesday's a holiday, so they'll be issued Thursday.
Have a good evening, gentlemen.
Thank you, you too. Thank you.
And do you have anything else, John?
For the other stuff.
I don't know, Diana, you want to chime in?
Well, 30 Taylor Road, Mr. Gennard is ready to start construction, so he wants a site visit to check whatever you guys need to check. So John's going to work with him to check that on Friday. That McKenzie Lane, is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Rich, you sent out some stuff today.
Yeah. They're gonna end up doing, they did the drain, they did it with a bunch of rocks that, yeah, all right, dispersed at the top, but as you said, it really needs to, they're planning on, I guess a large tree fell from the neighbor's house and just destroyed their backyard. So the whole thing, they're gonna plan to landscape. So I'm thinking we probably should ask them to come in to show us the landscape plan.
Okay.
They shouldn't have to generate a landscape plan, though. They should
No,
just
just
to show us on a
Draw-
map. what
yeah,
they-
hand drawing.
Yeah, what they're planning to do, yeah. No need to hire a surveyor and.
Yeah, no. It's already, this is already disturbed, the
Yeah.
whole thing, the whole backyard is. There was an interesting, I don't know if you noticed it, in that there's a silt fence on the other side. I don't know of any other project on the, that's going on. I don't know why they would put a silt fence up, but.
Oh, there was something going
This is
on.
not on McKenzie, it's on the off street, right next to that, on the corner.
Yeah, the cross street, they had a septic in the backyard that they.
Oh, is that what? Oh.
Yeah,
Oh.
because the front yard was a geo-energy construction, so they couldn't put the septic in the front yard. They had to put the septic in the backyard.
Oh, okay.
What happens a lot on a lot of septic projects is to eliminate the potential for the sediment to get into the street and them have to clean it up later. What they typically do is they put silt fence up to prevent that from happening, even though it might not be within any sort of conservation kind of area. It might be one of the requirements that the Board of Health agent suggested to them, so.
Yeah, no, it was right along there's a little stream there.
Oh, there is, okay.
Yeah, so that's what all that water goes down to.
Gotcha.
All right, so I'll ask them to
Yeah.
come in with a handwritten plan.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, the Willow Street Conservation Area, did anybody ever figure out where this fenced-in area is? The gentleman came and reported.
Yeah. No,
I looked. I didn't see any real disturbance. I saw a fence, but I don't know where the property line is exactly. But it doesn't look like it's that,
Okay.
it's close enough to be encroaching, but.
Well, the only activity on Willow Street is if you're under the power lines over to the left, it's all horses in there. It's been there forever.
Yeah.
If that's the power with Willow Street that he was
Uh,
talking
they
about.
would- The only house next to, once you come to the power lines on Willow Street, is if you're facing
You're on the
right-hand
street.
side of the street, yeah. There's only one house there is a fence there, but again, I don't know the property lines, but I didn't see any major cutting I was expecting to see a cleared lot.
Yeah.
So I can check it out again, but.
Another one is Anna Coangelo, you guys remember her, Bragg Road? She lives on that little square of Bragg Road, and she's surrounded by other people, or one other person. She has concerns about this other person. I told her to send me pictures. She thinks they're building a shed or a dock or something. But she wasn't really clear what she was talking about, so.
Okay.
I haven't gotten anything yet, so
All right.
maybe we will. I know her husband works downstairs one of these days, so maybe he'll bring something in.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. That Vandys ponds,
Yeah, we went out. The pond seems to be okay. I don't know why the river was down so low, but the pond seemed to be okay.
okay, and the 18 Taylor, that's, a lady had a concern about a wall.
Yeah, and I've had correspondence with Lauren from Pear about that. So it's just kind of, the challenge here is that Lake Miramichi is a Chapter 91 waterway because it is a great pond. We know that for a fact. So we need to make sure that any work that they're doing underneath the ordinary high water mark, which is state and federal, is that they follow the necessary procedures outside our jurisdiction. We don't have jurisdiction over Chapter 91 waterways, which was interesting tonight with the other conversation, because that other pond is not a listed Chapter 91 waterway to my knowledge, because it's not a great pond.
Does that just affect working in the pond, as opposed to, we still have a
So
25? and-
They may have, because they were doing work to the dam, they may have been encapsulated into that, which is kind of my understanding after understanding that. I don't want to talk about that project because it's been kind of done, but my understanding is that when you do have a dam repair or dam replacement project that's in order, you do have to file for a Chapter 91 permit. So I'm guessing that's the reason why.
That's what triggered it.
Yes. So for instance, for this one, is that it's a repair to a wall. So challenge is that we need to make sure that the work that's being done doesn't go below the kind of the edge of the pond level of the water, or go inside the water on the, I guess, the water side. So if the wall does need to get replaced, they have to file for a Chapter 91 permit. If they're only doing work on the, I guess, that within 25 feet in the buffer per se, and not going beyond that limit, then, for instance, they can go through the Conservation Commission because they're not touching land underwater.
Gotcha. All right, okay.
And the only other thing I have is that the second meeting is August 26th. I'm not going to be here. And if John's still here, he has a Norton meeting that night, so that might need to be canceled unless you want Catherine, the new girl, to try to run it with you. But we can talk about that.
August 26th?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. I would say we cancel it unless we have something urgent.
That's all I got.
Okay. You have anything else, John?
Let me see, meeting-wise, I should be okay. I was just taking a look at the meetings.
Okay. Do I hear a motion?
A motion to close the meeting?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye. Oh,
Do we have to roll call that one too?
Yes.
Yes.
Can we close the meeting?
Marsh.
Jim?
Aye.
Rich Galemi, aye.
Rebecca Kelly, aye.
Tony Orlando, aye.
David Opeka, aye.
And Robert Boette, aye.